Welcome. Today, we are going to tackle a challenge that, let's be honest, so many businesses face. How do you create lead magnets that high-level decision makers actually want to read? Well, we're going to break down a really powerful framework for you in this special presentation by Voxel Micro Video Labs by Donald Experience in San Pedro.
So let's just dive right in. How do you create content that sophisticated enterprise buyers and technical leaders don't just ignore, but actively seek out? It's a tough one, right? The answer isn't another sales pitch or some fluffy white paper. Nope. It's about providing something way more valuable.
Here's how we're going to break it all down. We're going to walk through this whole strategy in 5 key parts. First, we'll talk about why top executives seem so unreachable. Then, we'll get into the crucial market intelligence shift. After that, we'll get super practical with designing the report itself, followed by a video strategy to make sure it actually gets seen. And finally, we'll cover how to turn that initial spark of interest into real sales intent.
Okay, let's start with the big elephant in the room. If you're trying to reach senior leaders, you've probably noticed the traditional marketing, the kind that just shouts about features and benefits. It just doesn't work. It gets deleted, ignored, or scrolled past without a second thought.
And here's the absolute key. This audience isn't looking for hype. They're looking for authority and credible insights. They're totally bombarded with content and will only trade their precious attention for information that helps them see patterns, validate their own strategies, and solve real-world problems. They want depth, not another sales pitch. So, this brings us to the core idea of this entire framework. This is the aha moment. It's a fundamental shift in your mindset. You've got to stop thinking like a marketer who sells and start thinking like an industry insider who observes and reports. This is what we call the market intelligence shift.
And the difference here is, well, it's night and day. Traditional marketing is all about us, our company, our product. But market intelligence, that's about them and their world. You're not selling. You're sharing what you see from your unique vantage point across the entire industry. This immediately positions you as an expert with an insider's view, not just another vendor trying to make a sale.
And look, this isn't just a nice theory. We see this in practice. Analysis from firms like Walden Catalyst shows that content that helps executives spot industry patterns consistently, and I mean consistently, outperforms content that just explains a product. Decision makers want to understand the whole landscape, not just your little corner of it.
Ultimately, the most powerful lead magnet you could ever create is one that helps a leader answer one single critical question. Where do I stand relative to my peers? A benchmark report gives them that external data they're craving to validate their internal strategies. See, it's not about you, it's about giving them a mirror to their industry.
Okay, so how do you actually build this thing? Let's get into the design phase and see how to create a tangible, high-utility asset that people will gladly give you their email for.
First rule, and this is a big one, forget the 20-page white paper. Nobody has time for that. The value is in the density of the insight, not the volume of the text. Keep your benchmark report incredibly focused and easy to scan. We're talking 1 to 3 pages max.
And here are 3 killer formats that just work. You could offer a diagnostic checklist with simple yes or no questions that let them immediately audit their own systems. Or a comparison guide that clearly shows the current state of the industry versus outdated methods. Or, my personal favorite, a how-to breakdown, a super practical checklist for implementing one specific thing. All 3 are high utility and immediately useful.
All right, so creating a great asset is only half the battle. If nobody sees it, does it even matter? You need a distribution engine to get it in front of the right people. And this is where a smart, short-form video strategy comes into play.
So instead of just posting a link and hoping for the best, you create what we call insight clips. These are short videos, maybe 30 to 90 seconds, where you teach one specific finding from your report. This isn't a promo, it's a tiny lesson that reveals an industry pattern, and it acts as this powerful filter, attracting only the people who really care about that specific problem.
But, producing video consistently can be a huge headache, and that's where the right technology can make all the difference. A method called live to tape is a total game changer. It basically means your lighting, your audio, and all your camera switching are mixed in real time as you record. So the footage is ready to go almost instantly. No post-production nightmare.
I mean, let's just compare the old way to the new way. The old studio model is often slow, super expensive, and gets bogged down for weeks in post-production. In contrast, a micro video lab is designed for speed.
It's a turnkey system that uses that live-to-tape approach, so you can essentially walk in, record your content, and walk out. It's that simple.
This kind of workflow is what makes the whole strategy scalable. I mean, just imagine being able to record an entire month's worth of these insight clips in a single afternoon. With professional lighting and audio already dialed in, all the friction of content creation is just gone. This lets your brand have that professional polish it needs to win over clients.
So, someone watched your video and they downloaded the report. Awesome. But that's just interest. The next crucial step is to guide them toward intent with a really structured follow-up sequence.
This whole thing starts with the call to action itself. You know, the best CTAs don't ask for a huge commitment, like book a demo. No way. Instead, they just invite curiosity. Use soft phrases like, get the implementation checklist, or see how your peers are solving this. It lowers the barrier and makes it a super easy yes.
And here's a fantastic example of a low-friction CTA. For anyone watching or listening on the go, a text-to-download command is an amazing option. It removes the hassle of finding a landing page, and it captures their information instantly. It's all about meeting them where they are.
Once they're on your list, you don't jump straight to the sale. You nurture. First, deliver that report instantly. Then, send a couple of follow-up emails that add even more value. Maybe expand on a point from the checklist, or share a relevant case study. It's only after you've established that trust and expertise that you finally make the offer for a consultation.
And that really brings us to our final thought. With tools and workflows now making professional, broadcast-quality content so accessible and efficient, it really forces us to ask a tough question. For any serious business, is the good enough quality of a grainy webcam still truly good enough to represent your brand?
We really hope you found this framework valuable. This has been a presentation by Voxel Micro Video Labs. To learn more about how you can create high-quality content at scale, come visit us at voxelmicrovideolabs.com. Thanks for tuning in.